As for how many doses we can expect to see, the companies are committed to vaccinating 25 million people by the end of this year. Half of them will be right here in the United States.
The reason for that is when you think of Pfizer vaccine that needs to be stored in an ultra cold temperature, that's not feasible for places in the world that either has limited refrigeration or no refrigeration at all. So scientists and pharma companies know to end this global pandemic that every single vaccine that comes out will play a very, very crucial role.
It's still a very active scene here in Wappingers Falls, and we are told it is going to continue to be this way for much of the night. But even once these fire crews start to wind everything down, that road to recovery just beginning for all the families who lost everything tonight. Lawrence Ray has been in federal custody for the last 3 weeks, and today that judge deciding that is where Ray will stay. Now, sources tell us that the governor's office has actually been in touch with the district's medical director about known exposures that happened inside the schools. Well, Scott, that New Jersey man who passed away was an employee at the Standard Bread Owners Association based here in Yonkers. A crowded stage and a crowded race. Tonight's debate went very smoothly. Tonight, 10 of the 12 Democrats in this race took the stage, all of them hoping to replace Congresswoman Nita Lowey. The company saw such a big demand for their sanitizer that they expanded their product line to include wipes, an automatic sanitizer dispenser, and a spray. The 20-20-20 rule is every 20 minutes of work, you take a 20-second break and look at something 20 feet away. Giant Fitness has already gone through the trouble of separating all of their cardio machines, so when someone's ready to work out, they can safely close themselves off.
And once finished.
And if sports aren't your thing, then you're in luck, because the proposal also includes walking and jogging paths.
U.S. government advisory panel just endorsed widespread use of Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine.
And News 12's Beth Cefalu has been following the story all day for us. She is outside of Pfizer's Pearl River headquarters with the latest on the vote. Beth.
Good evening, and that's right. This panel, after an all-day hearing, voted to endorse Pfizer and BioNTech's COVID-19 vaccine 17-4 with one abstention. Now, the question that was asked to this panel is based on scientific evidence. Do the benefits outweigh the risks for ages 16 and up? And it was that age, starting at 16, that some of these panelists had pause with, and the reason is some of the doctors on this panel said that there's just not enough data in 16 and 17-year-olds to really answer that question. So some panelists were recommending that the FDA start those vaccinations at 18 and over. Others were also recommending limiting this authorization to just at-risk populations, including nursing homes and hospital workers, to give the FDA even more time to thoroughly look at data and collect even more data. But remember that this vote is only a recommendation for the FDA. It will be up to the FDA to make that final approval. And if they do decide to grant that EUA, we know Operation Warp Speed is committed to getting vaccines shipped and start to be administered within 48 hours. Reporting in Pearl River, Beth Cefalu for News 12.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Scott McGee.
And I'm Tamel Ponton in for Macy Eglin. Thank you so much for joining us. We are awaiting an update from police on that apparent murder-suicide.
And we do have team coverage of this tragedy for you tonight. We will take you to that press conference live as soon as it starts. But first, let's send it over to Beth Cefalu with the update. Beth.
Good evening. Well, one of the things I want to point out is that all day today we have been in that neighborhood where their family was living and speaking to neighbors and parents. And the one thing so many of them are saying is that this family was loving and happy, and that they are completely blindsided by this tragedy. And that's what makes it so hard for them to hear, and what makes this press conference that's about to happen so important, with police hopefully putting together that timeline and what led to this tragedy. Now, the entire investigation started yesterday at about 2 o'clock. That's when police did their well check at the family's home. That well check sparked when the two kids, one who was in pre-K and the other second grade, did not show up to school. And when police arrived to that home, they found the family of 4 deceased. Now, sources do tell News 12 that the father was the one who killed the wife and kids with a knife and then took his own life. Still no word as to what may have sparked him to do that, but it's safe to say this entire community horrified and upset by the tragedy.
You just don't know what goes on behind closed doors. These people seem to have been such a normal, loving, happy family. And when you see that, as the neighbors will attest to, it's just shocking.
Now stay tuned, because this press conference is going to start any minute, and we have so many unanswered questions that hopefully police will have the answers to tonight. Live in Pleasantville, Beth Cefalu for News 12.
Our Sarah Lawrence students extorted for money, sex, and labor. Shocking allegations that first surfaced last year and then today landed a father behind bars. Police say Lawrence Ray victimized his daughter and her friends for years. News 12's Beth Cefalu has that story.
Chilling allegations surrounding former Sarah Lawrence college students trafficked and extorted. And police say one of the victims' father was behind it all.
We're calling it a cult, really, like that it was started by the father who then brought in all these kids.
Police say 60-year-old Lawrence Ray, also known as Ray Greco, targeted his daughter and her college classmates, both male and female, and brainwashed them to exploit them of money, labor, and prostitution.
Over nearly a decade, Ray coerced and extorted nearly $1 million in payments from 5 different victims.
Officials say Ray even lived in his daughter's dorm for a period of time. The college telling News 12 their own investigation doesn't substantiate the claim. This email was sent to students Tuesday from the college, informing them of what happened and assuring them, quote, the safety and well-being of our students and alumni is a priority.
I heard about it, rumors about it earlier, and to see the building that it supposedly happened in and to walk past that is scary.
Police say one of Ray's control tactics included subjecting victims to interrogation.
On one occasion, as alleged, Ray tied this victim to a chair, placed a plastic bag over her head, and almost suffocated her.
The manipulation and abuse spanning the past decade. Accusations first surfaced last year in New York Magazine, but it wasn't until Tuesday police made an arrest.
I think everyone's a bit shocked, and I think that it's someone's own father means that it would have been harder to prevent in the first place because it is quite close to home.
That father is facing a number of federal charges, including sex trafficking and extortion, many of them carrying a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. Reporting in Yonkers, Beth Cefalu for News 12.
All right, thanks, Corey. The big question now, how well will the vaccines fare against that new variant strain? News 12's Beth Cefalu continues our team coverage tonight.
Well, Ian, with cases already surging, this highly contagious new strain is definitely a cause for concern. But the companies behind our vaccines are confident it'll still get the job done. A variant strain of the coronavirus that's 70% more contagious is now in the U.S. Pharma giants with vaccines on the ground believe their injections will still protect us.
You have to consider that even though 9 amino acids are changed in this protein, 99% of the protein is not changed. And we know that our vaccine induces immune responses against multiple regions of this protein, multiple T-cell responses, and multiple antibody binding regions.
In a statement, Pearl River-based Pfizer is also supporting that, telling News 12 they tested the vaccine's ability to neutralize multiple mutant strains. To date, we have found consistent coverage of all the strains tested. The company also confirmed they are now generating data on how well the vaccine can neutralize the newest strain. Moderna also released a statement about their vaccine, which uses the same mRNA technology as Pfizer and BioNTech. In it, the company says the broad range of potential neutralizing antibodies made possible by the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine provide confidence that our vaccine will also be effective at inducing neutralizing antibodies against them. Only time will tell if our best weapon against the virus holds through the war. The highly contagious strain also making masks and social distancing even more important as we weather this second wave. In Yonkers, Beth Cefalu for News 12.